Next topic, Niger and the coup that happened in Niger. And
past week,
what is the U.S. presence in Niger as well?
Well, actually, we're sending 1,000 troops.
There's already, I think, 1,000 something there.
We do have a small presence.
Yeah.
You know, when I was in Ivory Coast a few years ago, we do have presence in.
The news called it a significant military presence in Niger with at least 1,016 troops in the country. I was like, I don't know that that's a significant presence, but it's certainly a presence. But they do have a drone base in Niger. So it's Air Base 201, which houses armed MQ-9 Reaper drones.
Wow.
And supports U.S. counterterrorism operations across Africa. So I want to speak to the counterterrorism operations in Africa for a second, because there was a journalist named Nick Terse did a really deep dive writing for The Intercept for this. And what he said is that in the first years, 2022 or 2002 and 2003, the first years of U.S. counterterrorism assistance to Niger, the State Department said that there were only 9 terrorist attacks in all of Africa. Okay, so it's 2002, 2003. Okay, so this is a quote from Terse. Last year, the number of violent events in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Western Niger alone reached 2,737. According to a report by the African Center for Strategic Studies, a Defense Department research institute. This represents a jump in more than 30,000% since the U.S. began its counterterrorism efforts.
Yeah, and the center where that research came from, that's the back door of the U.S. government.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, it's a Defense Department research.
Yeah, usually those will have to have any policy research will have to steer towards the objective of the administration, because those is the Pentagon that paying them.
Yes, it's paying them.
Yeah. They used to be with the Cairo Institute. It used to be with Brookings Institute.
Yeah.
All those analysts at Brookings Institutes and so forth. I'm very familiar with them. Like, for example, Dr. O'Hanlon, he always travels to other countries on behalf of the Pentagon. Well, all the analysis that's going to come out will be skewed towards that. As a matter of fact, I had to challenge him one day in one of his writings regarding those policies, because I was on the ground.
Yeah.
Now, you come in to visit for 2 days and stay at the embassy, and you hear the briefing at the embassy. You weren't on the ground to see, for example, when we were in Iraq, you go downtown Baghdad and see the reality for what it is. And I kind of had to challenge him in writing, not directly, because I don't know him personally. I know of him. But when I wrote the Russia book, I had to put one of his quote there because he was wrong, because he was tilted towards what. So that confirms what you're saying. So in Africa, basically, the way you have to look at it, guys, just to see the big picture, which comes on the eve or on the heels of the meeting between Russia and African countries, the Africa Summit, the second one. What is the key to all that is that Russia did two main things for Africa. One of them is going to be sending grain for free.
Yep.
And second one is that Russia forgave $20 billion in Africa debt.
Yep.
Two main things. Also
huge.
Oh, yeah, big time. Because look what happened to us when interest rate goes up.
Right.
Any country that has dollars is going to go up. So it's a big problem for them. Why it is problematic from a geopolitical perspective now in Africa, that the West is very nervous, especially two countries. The two countries that are very concerned are the US and France.
Yeah.
So the reason for that, it's not what you hear as Tony Blinken said, oh, we're concerned about democracy. It's nonsense.
Oh God! Anytime you hear we're concerned about democracy, you guys, that's nonsense. That's literal nonsense.
Now, what you guys need to know is that we have trained some of the entities inside Niger for quite a while.
Yeah.
So they are especially the head of the military, the prior one.
Yeah.
They're special op. We train them.
Yeah.
They are very familiar with Western military. So because we want to ensure stability for a reason. And the stability, or the reason for that, is tied to economics.
Absolutely.
And just without going too much into, I'll explain two things.
Mm-hmm.
Niger and neighboring countries, Burkina Faso and Mali, especially Niger, since we're talking about Niger. Niger is known for two main resources that they have. Massive.
Yeah.
One is uranium.
Yep.
And second is gold.
Yep.
So
I'm not sure that there is anything more precious to economy at this point.
Yeah, this is why France declared that is the fourth in the world holding gold for 2,462 tons.
Mm-hmm.
Don't quote me on the 62. I think the 2,000 because I do have it, because I do remember that one. All of a sudden, I was off. It's 2,436 tons.
That's close.
Without a single gold mine in France.
Right.
So how this happens? Where did they get all that from?
Right.
That is the reason why we are now very concerned. As a matter of fact, France now is considering intervening militarily. And guess what the military generals who did the coup told France? Bring it on.
Yeah.
Because France was kicked out of Mali.
Yep.
Because of the here is the sad part. You know what saddens me the most?
Sure.
Believe it or not. Africa.
Yeah.
The whole continent, especially with the countries that were colonized by France.
Yeah.
Still till today, paying about $500 billion in taxes to France.
Oh my God.
This will shock you. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that high.
It is.
Jeez.
It is, because during the time of Charles de Gaulle, they created the currency that will go directly into French, the national, it's called NBP, the National Bank of Paris.
Yeah.
NBP.
500 billion?
The last stats that I looked at.
Oh my God.
$500 billion in taxes. Yeah. So this is why France was so concerned. It's because now here is another thing for you to know. Every light bulb in France is used uranium from Niger.
Yeah.
So because France is good at nuclear power plants, because that's how they get their electricity from. Where is the uranium coming from?
Yeah. Niger.
And to tie it even to us, I'm gonna take you back to prior to the invasion of Iraq, when we sent Ambassador Wilson to Africa to check on uranium if it was transferred to Iraq. Where did we send him to? Niger. And when he went there and found there was no transfer of uranium from Niger to Iraq, because that was the basis of why we invaded Iraq. The government, our government at that time, and the Bush ended up retaliating against his wife, Valerie Plame, who was a CIA officer.
Oh, that's right.
That's
what
it
gosh,
was.
This is that terrible story.
It's because, just FYI, for our laws, if you disclose the identity of a CIA agent, it's a felony.
Well, it should be. I mean, that's
they
their
blow
life.
her cover up.
Yeah.
Why? Because they retaliated against her husband.
For finding out the truth.
For finding out it was no uranium transferred from Niger to Iraq. So now you see why we are now sort of pushing France first.
Yeah.
The second thing, like I always say, you have to think about the big picture.
Yeah.
And the big picture I'm referring to here is why all of a sudden NATO is interested in expanding in Mauritania. If you know where Mauritania is, and I think I had a map somewhere, if I can find it. And funny, I usually keep this stuff handy just in case, but when I need it, it's kind of not there. But anyway, so why Mauritania is because Mauritania is on the west coast, access to
the ocean,
to the Atlantic,
yeah.
But also has to do with the NATO presence there. So because this is now how we are justifying, and I've argued this, NATO's expansion in Africa is no coincidence.
Agreed.
And because that's a whole area of Sahel, you're looking at Mali, Mauritania to a degree, Niger, you're looking at Nigeria, Burkina Faso, you're looking at certain areas of Sudan, then Nigeria, the north of it, all that area, Guinea, all of them are rich in natural resources.
Yep, hugely so.
This is why all of a sudden now we are saying, "Oh,
yep."
Now, mind you, one thing which is historically known, Niger is known. This is like the fifth coup.
Yeah.
So Africa is known for,
and that's the thing. Africa is not known exactly for having stable governments, right? Africa is actually known for having extremely unstable governments. But what I wonder is, because it's not a secret that the United States has sort of meddled. I don't know what the right word is for that, but
interfered. We use the term,
interfered in. In a lot of those governments, right? So one of the other things that Terse wrote was the last 10 coups launched in West Africa since 2008 were led by U.S. trained soldiers.
I got it. I'm gonna share it with you guys because you guys need to see this share screen right there. Take a look at this, guys. Look at that.
I can't see anything.
You can't?
Oh, there it goes. There it goes.
It's supposed to be there. Yeah. So I'm going to point with just my cursor here. So you look at Mauritania, and this is where NATO is saying, oh, we want to stabilize the Sahel region. Anytime you hear Sahel region, you have to look at from the part of Mauritania all the way to certain areas in Ethiopia, But the main ones, look where Mali is. Look where Burkina Faso is. Look where Niger is. Now, this country, Guinea here, has a lot of oil. Nigeria has a lot of oil.
Yeah.
This is the whole idea of it, guys. This is why I'm going to stop sharing this and back to our screen. This is why nothing happens in a vacuum.
Absolutely.
So you're here in France all of a sudden, because France has been kicked out of Mali, France knows that with this deal in Niger now, it's over for France.
Yeah.
And France has colonized. I was shocked to find out that they still get $500 billion in taxes.
That's crazy.
I was shocked.
That is absolute insanity.
And this is why these new leaders, especially in Niger, this new general, I forgot his name, that took over. You know what he said to the finance minister from the previous administration?
Screw you.
No. He said, you need to provide evidence of all the finances of the country within 48 hours or you get executed.
Yeah.
Straightforward.
Yeah.
Straightforward. Because where is the wealth of all? Africans are not benefiting from it.
Clearly
so here is the gold going to France,
right?
And Africans are living in poverty.
Yeah.
That just
and that's the thing. That's actually the issue with Africa is these leaders, more or less, I grew up with the, feed the starving children in Africa, right? Why are they starving? There's more food in the world than all that could support every single person on the planet. And I want to make that really clear because, we sit there and think, oh, it's because there's not enough food. There's not enough food. That's what we were taught growing up, is that there's just not enough food for everybody. And these African countries, they're so poor and there's just not enough food. But that is not the reality. No. The reality is that they have been kept this way.
We were keeping them poor.
Yeah.
By design.
And that because an impoverished country, a country that is more or less politically unstable, but unstable in a specific way, right? So if you're unstable, but have an allegiance to making sure that France gets its tax dollars, for example, right?
Yeah.
But you're unstable in every other way. You have a population that is impoverished. The population can't really rise up and do much. If they can't figure out how they're going to eat, they're not as interested, or they're not as able to really raise their own country up. And so that's actually, you guys know I have very mixed feelings about China. I respect a lot of the things that they're doing, and I don't respect some of the things that they're doing also. But one of the things that I do respect about them is that I have seen them invest in infrastructure in Africa that raises their people up.
That's true.
And that is actually something that I have not seen over the last decades from basically the West, because it's not just the US, right? It's France, it's the Brits, it's the colonialization, those countries. So it's not just the US on this one. I mean, it really is the colonializing countries.
Well, we are the one dictating the terms to even France itself. Definitely. Because remember, NATO is the US.
But France is not going to turn down $500 billion in tax.
Well, they won't, because the US has its own cut from somewhere else. It's all about carving out interests.
Right.
Look no further. Again, use history as your guide. Go back to World War II. After how the decision was made to carve out, when the victorious allies took over, how they carve out that based on interest. It just
absolutely
name of the game, the way it is. I am in process, FYI guys, I'm in process of putting an analysis together about how destabilized regions impact uranium production.
I'm very interested.
I want to keep that for surprise.
Here's why. Because uranium, the big bad dog is nuclear. Right? Nuclear weapons, nuclear power. The movie Oppenheimer just came out. It was very interesting. If you guys want to check it out, the life of Robert Oppenheimer. But nuclear is the big bad dog, right? So when Russia is talking about escalation, it's nuclear escalation. When we talk about energy, the big bad thing is nuclear energy. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. But it is the most powerful, and uranium is what allows nuclear to be possible.
That's true.
It's what allows nuclear weapons to be possible. It's what allows nuclear power plants to be possible. So it's interesting to take a look at how much of that actually comes from Africa and the politics of those regions. And you're absolutely right, tied to uranium.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Very, very big deal. As a matter of fact, we do import a lot of uranium from Russia.
And there's sanctions. So why is that what's allowed?
That's because it's very important. Right? I don't want to say much because I'm saving it for that analysis for our.
No, you're absolutely
I'm saving it for you guys as a surprise. So it's like what I'm gonna be doing with. Remember when we said if we reach certain numbers of channels, we will do Q&As. But I have a surprise.
What is that?
No, I won't say it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you won't convince me to spell the secrets. That's not you. There is no way that will ever happen. No, because I want to keep it a surprise for our viewers. Once we reach those for the members.
Yes,
as soon as we reach the 100.
Yep.
I'll meet my end of the bargain for that.
Awesome. Guys, we have a YouTube membership, and we're gonna do live Q&As for members on there. If you want to hit, I think it's like a join button or something underneath. So hit join. When we hit 100 members, we will start doing them.
And two other things. Make sure to subscribe to our newsletter.
Yes.
Because it's very, very important. That gives you, because we put some articles there that we might not get a chance to talk about during the live stream. So it's a good way. It's free, of course. And the only thing it will require from you is that once you send email, it will have to check to make sure email is valid. So, but it's very, very interesting. We put some really up-to-date stuff that mainstream media is not going to be talking about. Well, and the third thing is the course.
Yes.
I'll let you talk about
that so we have a government course coming up, because the reality is that most people have no idea how the US government actually works, but it does not matter where you are in the world, you are impacted by the US government. So David actually teaches that. He's been a professor of US government for a long time. But we're not going to teach that version of it, right? So there's the version that's the
requirements from the government to teach, and there is the real
real
version of that. That's the one we're gonna be delving into. So So
and it's going to be taught live. David is going to teach
Yeah.
it live. I might teach a little part of it, but if you sign up for the newsletter, it's absolutely free. I will send out information when we have it, probably within the next couple of weeks. We're going to release it.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for you guys to do that. And with that course, it's, we're going to have a live Q&A component. So you guys can ask your questions about how the US government is actually working, where in the world it's working. Because as we're talking about Africa right now, I think most people don't know how much of what's happened in Africa over the last few decades has actually been US government run. And it's not even a secret, right? We have books about it. We have papers about it. People have come out about it. This isn't a secret, but no one's talking about it. And so the real way that influence and power happens around the world is a mystery to most people. We think that it's what we see, right? It's like, oh, well, this politician goes and there's a law made and that's how that works. And then this, whatever. But that is not how laws are made. And if you think about it, if you were a person in power, let's say you had a large corporation, for example, and you were beholden to your shareholders, would you just let the market decide or random politicians potentially put your business at risk? Absolutely not. What you would do is you would go and influence the people who were in control over the policies that affected your company. So this isn't even like a secret or something crazy. This is just how this works. And people think, oh no, it's upfront and policies or whatever. But you guys don't think that. I know you don't, because you're watching us. That's why the government course is important, is because that isn't how it works. And how it does work is there are these hidden channels, and you guys deserve to know about them.
Yeah. The fourth thing is, remember to subscribe to this channel if you have not done so. We really appreciate it.